Hi, everyone. It's Jennifer Tarle from Tarle Speech, and I am here for your lunchtime lesson. We are going to be talking about the P and the B sounds today, and we are going to jump right in as soon as I make sure that everyone can hear me and all is going well. So if you are live with me and you can hear me, please put a thumbs up or where you're from in the chat. All right. I'm going to double check on my end. And it looks like we are good. Good morning. Thank you, everyone. I'm glad that you can hear me. So today, we again are continuing with the series on how to pronounce sounds in American English. And we're going through all of the consonants. And consonants are those sounds that have a more specific place of production. And what I mean by that is usually your lips are together, your tongue touches something, as opposed to the vowels where your mouth is just moving and your tongue isn't really touching anything or more or less shaping the sound. So we're going to get through all of the consonants this month. I'm going to be doing these classes Mondays and Fridays around lunchtime in the US. And then I am going to be starting with a vowel series in April. And I really do want to continue with the live lessons. People are really enjoying those. But I am getting a lot of requests for a more consistent schedule. So what I'm going to do is schedule those classes consistently on a Monday at noon. But if there's some reason why I can't be live at noon, I will pre-record the class and then post it. As many of you know, I am also uploading these classes on the Sounds in American English to your podcast streams, wherever you get your podcasts. And those usually go live, I don't know, about an hour or two after the live class. The way this is going to work is I'm going to go through a quick presentation, teach you how to say the sound. We're going to do a lot of practice. We're going to practice some words, some sentences, and some tongue twisters. And then I'm going to leave time at the end for questions and answers. So, hi, everyone. I see some familiar faces. Thank you. And from many, many places. So welcome, everyone. And welcome to those of you who are listening to me, maybe in your car or while you're out for your morning walk. So we are going to talk about the P and the B sounds today. I'm pairing sounds up because we have sounds that are exactly the same with what we do with our mouth and our tongues in English. The difference is voicing, and we're going to talk about that. So let's start with the P sound. And the P sound looks like this. And the B sound looks like this. Ba, 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 ba. Correct. They look exactly the same way. All right. So let me make my face a little bit bigger so you can see as I describe. Okay. So our lips are going to be closed and then opened. The tongue is just hanging out. It's neutral in your mouth. It's not really doing anything. It's not touching your teeth. The airflow is just going to puff out and your voice is off. I'm going to get back to that airflow in a bit because I do hear some mistakes with some of my students with that. But for now, let's all just practice this together. So again, lips are together and then open, tongue is neutral, air puffs out, voice is off. That means your throat, your voice box, your larynx, it's not on, it's not vibrating. The air is just moving through your throat with no constriction. Okay, so let's try the P sound. Awesome. Let's talk a little bit about some mistakes that I hear. So in English, yes, we do have that puff of air that comes out of the mouth, but it's less than some other languages. So a mistake that I hear a lot is over aspiration. What is that? Fancy word for too much air that puffs out. I hear this a lot. And then when you're talking to an American listener or to many different English listeners, what they hear, because they're using their structure from the sounds that they have in their language, in the English language, to interpret what you're saying, sometimes they hear an extra vowel, even though there isn't an extra vowel there. Okay, so instead of saying the word bird, I hear some of my students say purred. Heard. And then it almost sounds like you have an extra syllable in there because every syllable has a vowel. If you add an extra vowel, if it sounds like there's an extra vowel, then we are going to think you have an extra syllable. And then that changes not only the word, it also changes your rhythm and your overall sentence stress and your intonation. So again, puff of air, but not too much. All right. And let's move on to the B sound. Same thing, lips are together, closed and then opened. Tongue is neutral in the mouth. The air is just going to puff out, but again, not too much of a puff, just enough. And then your voice box is on. So it's going to sound a little bit harsher. Buh, 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 buh. Okay, so let's give that a try. Buh, 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 buh. Okay, now let's contrast the P, no voice. And now with your voice for the B, 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 B. Awesome. Okay, let's keep on moving here. All right, so for spelling, we are going to spell the P sound, that P sound, with the letter P. We are also going to spell that P sound with 2 letter P's in zipper, zipper, zipper. So again, you can have 1 P or you can have 2. Similar with the B sound, it's the letter B or 2 B's together like we hear in bib and in bubble. All right, are we ready for some practice? Let me just double check, make sure I don't have any questions. All right. So the way I'm going to do this for those of you watching live, I am going to put the words up and I'm going to have my face up at the same time. It's a little small for people watching on a phone. Then I'm going to make my face bigger so you can see it as well. Okay, so let's give this a try. All right, so we have put, post, pattern, pink, posted, happy, supply, tipping, opposite, approach, up, beep, stop, sheet, airdrop. Okay. Here I am a little bit bigger so you can see my mouth. All right. So I'm going to say the word and then I want you to repeat after me. So again, if you come from a language background where your native language adds a little bit of an extra puff for the P, try to tone that down a little bit and really try to imitate what I'm doing. If you kind of over exaggerate what I'm doing, you're usually going to be correct. Okay, here we go. Put, post, pattern, pink, posted, happy, supply, tipping, opposite, approach, up, beat, stop, sheep, airdrop. Some of you might be hearing, this is how my students describe it, that I'm swallowing that P sound at the end of words. I'm not necessarily swallowing the sound. What I'm doing is I'm not adding that extra puff of air. I'm just kind of closing my lips. So I might say up instead of up. Now, I can say the word up and I have a little bit of a puff of air, but it's slight. But if you do hear people that sound like they're swallowing that last sound or they're making it really short, it's because they're just keeping the lips closed and then they are not aspirating that sound. All right, let's try these one more time. And I'm going to say the words and the whole list, and then you take a turn. Put, post, pattern, pink, posted. Happy, supply, tipping, opposite, approach. Up, beep, stop, sheep, airdrop. Okay, how did everyone do? Does anyone have any questions? Okay, it doesn't look like it. Let's just keep going. And we are going to start with the B sound. All right. So we have bottle, bun, by, being, best, object, inhibit, orbit, absolutely, ribbon, sob, lab, suburb, bulb, rehab. Got a bonus word since I didn't see that word, didn't read that word correctly. All right, I'm going to make the words bigger for those of you who are watching and repeat after me. Bottle, bun, by, being, best, object, inhibit, orbit, absolutely, ribbon, sob, lab, suburb, bulb, rehab. All right, now I'm going to read the entire list and you repeat after me. Bottle, bun, by, being, best. Object, inhibit, orbit, absolutely, ribbon. Sob, lab, suburb, bulb, rehab. One more tip for you. If you are struggling a little bit with that B at the end and it's sounding a little bit more like a P, that's an issue for some people. Think about stretching your vowel, and that should help you. So instead of saying the word tap, if you're trying to say the word tab and you make that vowel a little bit longer, that's going to help you keep your voice on, because all vowels are voiced. If you keep your voice on, it's going to be easier to have the voicing on that B sound. Another tip for those of you that have native languages where you have a slight break in between syllables that end with a vowel and then start with a consonant. So if you have a language, for instance, like Spanish, where you have the ma, me, mi, mo, mu, some of my students have this teeny tiny slight pause between each of their syllables in words when they're speaking English. And if you try to stretch that vowel into that last B sound, that should help you, because everything just keeps connecting and there's no pause in the middle of a word. Okay, I hope that helps. All right. Now let's get into some sentences. All right, I will read them, just listen, then I'll make them bigger and read them again, and then you can repeat. All right, here we go. Just listening at this point. Betty and Bob bought the blue blanket and pink picture. Put the stamp on the back of the passport. This is a positively perfect plan for practicing pronunciation. All right, repeat after me. I will go slowly first, and then you try it slowly, and then we'll both go a little faster. I'll give you a faster example, and then you can take a turn. Okay, so let's go slowly. Listen, and then repeat. And no worries, Jose, better late than never. Okay. Betty and Bob bought the blue blanket and pink picture. Betty and Bob bought the blue blanket and the pink picture. Put the stamp on the back of the passport. Put the stamp on the back of the passport. This is a positively perfect plan for practicing pronunciation. This is a positively perfect plan for practicing pronunciation. Okay, how did everyone do? Everyone did okay with that? Okay, any questions from anyone before we move on to even harder practice? We are going to practice some tongue twisters next. Okay, it looks like we are okay. So this is an oldie but a goodie in terms of tongue twisters. I actually would use this tongue twister when I was a kid. All right, here we go. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Okay, how did you all do? I think that one's not too bad. Maybe it's just because I've said it a lot since I was a kid. All right, this next one, I had never heard this tongue twister until about a year or two ago when one of my students asked me about it. And then it was one of those things that after that, several of my other students asked me about it. And so I don't know how this became so popular in the English learning set, but it is a tough one. So I'm going to show it to you with me saying it at the same time. Okay, here we go. Betty bought some butter, but she said the butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. So she bought a bit of better butter, and her batter was not bitter. Okay, tip for this one. I am using the flap T, which sounds like a really fast D in these words. If you want to say a T, a normal straight up T, that is totally fine. People are going to understand you. Okay. I'm happy to repeat tips. If you can kind of give me some idea of the tips that I was saying, was it more about the air puffing out or the voicing where I want to keep my voice on? If you can let me know, is it about that air puff or the voicing? I'm happy to answer that question. All right. And oh, I'm sorry. Someone thought that last tongue twister was really hard. This one is like, I think, super hard. So let's give this one a try. I'm going to make it bigger for you all. And then we will try it slowly and then a little faster. Okay. Betty bought some butter, but she said the butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. So she bought a bit of better butter, and her batter was not bitter. Try that. Betty bought some butter, but she said the butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. So she bought a bit of better butter, and her batter was not bitter. Okay, everyone, great job. Everyone is commenting on how difficult the tongue twisters are. They are difficult. They're more for helping your mouth move a little faster when you don't have to think about the actual words that you're saying that convey meaning. So it's a way to sort of bridge that and help with that. The good news is typically we don't have that many situations where we have one sound that we say so many times. It also just makes practicing a little more fun. I actually recorded a tiny mini series. Some of the videos did not work out. The ones that I'm posting, they look okay. I think I need to make them look a little better, but I'm still going to post them because they're great for practicing. And I think those post at the end of March. Okay, getting back to the voicing question about the B. In English, in American English, we use final voicing in words. Oftentimes, my students who come from many different language backgrounds do not do this. So how do you make sure that you use that voicing as opposed to not using the voicing? So the examples that I gave were the words tap and tab. Tap, tab. Those words have exactly the same first sound T, second sound A, and our mouth does exactly the same thing for that P or B, right? We just learned that. Only difference in that word is the voicing at the end of the word. To make sure that you keep that, to say that voiced sound at the end, my tip is keep your voice going. Don't turn your voice off. Keep it on a little bit longer and make that vowel longer. Vowels all have voicing. So when you make the vowel longer, it's easier to keep the voicing on for that final sound. It's also really important to remember not to have a tiny break between the A and that final sound. The word is not tab, it's tab. That's a big general rule for a lot of my students. Connect all of the sounds in words. We tend not to have that consonant vowel structure as much in English as a lot of other languages do. And so having that vowel continue into that final consonant sound, that will really help you. So again, a little bit of a longer vowel before a voiced sound at the end. That works with every sound, like bag and bad, tab, his. Any word that ends with that voiced sound, you want to just make sure you keep that vowel on a little bit longer, keep that voicing on. And it makes it easier ultimately because the voice is already on. Just keep it on for that last sound. Okay. All right. So another question. It sounds to Aaron that the P sound releases more of a puff of air when it's at the beginning of a word, whereas the B sound is more shallow. Yeah, I definitely think that's a really great observation. So this would be the difference in the word pit versus bit. Pit, bit. Pit has the P. That's going to have a little bit more of a puff of air, pit, as opposed to bit, which has the voicing on. So again, P for pit, B for bit. Yes, the P has a little bit more aspiration than the B. Great question. All right. Okay, Laura, I know. I feel ya. Tongue twisters are just hard. She was saying that she can't even say tongue twisters in Spanish. They are really difficult. I also find that sometimes they're more difficult on some days than others. I don't know why that is. I wish I did. And I will also say that recording videos with tongue twisters, which is a request, was a little bit maddening for me when you're trying to say it over and over and over again and thinking about presenting and going faster and going slower. I was losing my mind. I did, I think, record like 5. So we'll see how, I should say, what you all think of that. Someone else asked about lessons. Yes, I do teach lessons. I've been getting a lot of questions about my lessons lately. I'm just going to take a quick second to talk about those. My lessons are bespoke. That means they are individualized for you. At this point, I'm only teaching one-to-one private classes. I've been working with some teachers on doing some group classes in different countries. And if you are interested in that for your class, please let me know. I'm looking for someone to sort of help me figure this out, see what works best for a group with a virtual teaching style. I'm thinking small groups. So contact me if that's something you're interested in. But my one-to-one classes, I do an assessment. I send you a list of words, some sentences, and some questions. I listen to those. I analyze them for differences and for patterns of those differences or mistakes, whatever you want to call them. Then I group those into classes and I teach you those patterns and those sounds that only you do not use or you're pronouncing incorrectly. This way, you only have to work on what you're missing, not everything. So I do this in 5 session packages. So I sell 5 classes at a time in different groups. My first class, which most people take, is consonants and vowels. My second class is syllable stress. And my last class is intonation. Even though I have these classes sort of grouped, it's more so that we can stay focused. That being said, if you only have 3 sounds that you need to work on, I am not going to just keep working on those sounds, we're going to move into class number 2, word stress, or class number 3, intonation. So whatever you need. Also, I am happy to do whatever you need. I also work on presentation skills for native English speakers and English learners or people who speak another native language. I work on tips such as body posture. I help you go through your slides. We might change some wording. Work a lot on presenting, using voice projection, over articulation, focus words, all of these types of things. And then I have classes for students I've been working with for a while. I do things like I've had some people who want to learn new vocabulary for their job and how to pronounce it. So what we do is we read articles based on their industry or the industry that they're entering. We do a deep dive on the vocabulary and the concepts, and we work on pronunciation at the same time. I do this with case studies and with articles and all that type of stuff. Okay, if you're interested in that, let me know. You can reach me on all the socials, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I think that's it. I have a link tree thanks to my nephew, Will. He told me I was getting too wordy in my descriptions. So I have a link tree, and all of my videos has links to everything, to all of my my products, which are really easy and really inexpensive. I'm selling products in terms of an entire catalog of all the consonant sounds and a catalog of all of the vowel sounds, and you could buy those. Or I sell one-offs. I sell just the B sound or just the P sound. And again, that allows you to just get exactly what you need. Those are PDF files with embedded audio sold in an ebook format. So I sell those through third parties like Teachers Pay Teachers. You don't have to be a teacher to shop there. And through iTunes, Google Play, and Teespring. And that's also in my link tree. You can check out my About page on Facebook for my contact information. And thank you so much, everyone. These classes are becoming my favorite. I do just think they're so much fun. I love that I get to interact with all of you. Thank you for your kind words and also for the feedback. I really do appreciate that. It's helping me sort of streamline this. I'm still working on my interview series. I'm having a hard time getting people who want to do interviews, but I do think I'm going to have someone for next week. We're going to give it a try and see how that goes. I'm going to record it and then post it. So stay tuned. Lots of good stuff. Also, just remember, every day on YouTube, I post a new lesson. I'm posting shorts. Most days, those are posted on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I'm posting my 2 for Tuesday, which are homophone lessons, words that are spelled differently with different meanings, but pronounced the same way. That's super great for vocabulary expansion as well. And then on Fridays, I've been running a mini series that's been going on for a little while now on heteronyms. That's really focusing more on syllable stress and on those words that are spelled the same, but pronounced differently. So check those out. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. It is my pleasure, Eric, to help in my own little way. So have an amazing weekend. I hope it's awesome and you do lots of fun things, or just relax if that's what you need. And I will see you all on Monday. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.